All right, good evening. We'll bring the Planning Commission meeting for June 15th to order for the Town of Old Saybrook. Roll call. I'm here. Doug McCracken. Present. Paula Kay.
Present.
Kathleen Sugland.
Present.
Jonathan Miles.
Present.
Michael Bender.
Present.
Megan Juflis.
Present.
And Dennis Tullamary Jr. Thank you.
Present.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of slot tonight. All right, regular business minutes. Motion to
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Can I get a second.
Second.
Any conversation, any questions, any comments? Questions, no comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those abstain
I'll abstain. I was not for that meeting.
and all those opposed. The minutes pass. The Whisper Cove discussion. So Lynette Wacker, who joined us, I was going to say last week, 2 weeks ago, is back again with a draft of the memo that we're planning to send to the residents that about the Whisper Cove easement. And has everyone had a chance to read this?
Yes.
Yes. Any questions or comments?
I just have like a wording comment,
Okay.
sort of like grammar. So down in like the first bullet here, at the end, I think middle where it says, you know, the establishment of one pathway running parallel to the shoreline or to Ragged Rock Road. I guess I was just trying to understand, like, I don't know if that's, it didn't seem clear to me sort of what it's describing in terms of like where we would want it. Because I guess is it parallel to the shoreline or to the road, or is the road and the shoreline parallel? Are we just trying to give them
The
options?
easement is in two sections. There's
Okay.
a shoreline section and then there's a section along.
It goes right along
Ragged
the
Rock
road. Yeah.
So it would be we're recommending that if they do a maintenance path, it would be parallel to the shoreline.
Mhm.
Or if you're living on the other side of the road, parallel to Ragged Rock Road. And if that's not clear. I
That's
can
right,
try-
yeah, I
maybe-
don't, it was
maybe
like, you could put one pathway, it has to be in one of those places, either parallel.
I
just-
can try to
was-
clarify it. I think the people that live there will
Mhm.
get it because
Okay.
they know, but to another reader, maybe it would.
That's,
be
yeah, that
clear.
sort of jumped out at me as like, I wasn't totally clear.
I
And then I thought
struggled
there was
with
something
how
in
to
the
word
recommend,
that.
yeah. And then there's something in the recommendation about like having like also like a pathway from each lot too. I
Yes.
don't know if we mentioned that in here, it didn't seem like it was.
What if we just say the establishment of a pathway running parallel to the shoreline and to Ragged Rock Road?
Oh,
Yeah, that might,
yes, that does make
then
sense.
it's like two pathways or.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Two locations.
Then we should, might say two pathways instead of like.
You do that,
one pathway.
either a pathway or two pathways.
It was just a clarity. General
Just
concept.
just a process question. So this is a good draft for review and approval, then we would date it and you would sign it or something like that to kind of make it official.
Probably Lynette and myself would sign. Lynette is
It's your
the town and myself is.
easement, so
You want no part of it.
I don't really have the authority to.
Hmm.
Okay.
sign
I mean, I think you
this,
can probably have a vote of the planning commission
to
and
accept this.
then accept it and sign it and we'll save it and send it to the neighbors and that'll be your official interpretation.
Yes. And
I
I
think that's
was planning on having a vote on this. My question that I have is that I guess last time we discussed this, we talked about not amending the easement. Do we just vote on this and then attach this to the easement as part of the record?
You can file one on the land records.
Okay.
That might be a way to, but then it's not really
What it really is it's
interpretation.
it's an interpretation that would help the residents understand what it means in the section that I referenced exactly. If they want to follow these guidelines, then they wouldn't have to come to the planning commission to get permission. They could still come to the planning commission and ask for permission to do whatever it is that they want to do. It's just kind of trying to save them that step.
Yep.
It isn't changing anything, so I'm not sure how.
It's clarification, really.
Okay,
So it's not
It's
like an
kind of
amendment to the easement,
pre-approval,
right?
Right. I mean, amending the easement is
That would be a
gonna
different
be a lot of
process,
work,
right?
and
yeah,
so this way, this is how we interpret it, this is what we think, and then we don't have to go through amending the easement and the land records and all that kind of stuff.
excuse me, I was just thinking of what happens when someone sells their house. I guess if they came to land use, you would have this available for them.
Exactly.
Okay,
It doesn't change the easement, so they'll still get, hopefully they'll still get a copy of the easement.
Yeah.
If they bought the house, and then they would see that they needed to get permission for something. They'd come to the land use department, we would say, here's clarification of what you can do. And then,
Or what we could do is just add one to every property file. I mean, there's,
if sure,
what, there's like 9 houses. 6
so we
houses.
just put them in the property file. If someone buys a house, they start going through
Just
the
be there.
file.
Okay.
And we just put something like a note to the file, here's the interpretation of the easement, and hopefully someone will review the file before they buy the house.
Mr. McCracken?
I like that. Oh, sorry, did I miss something in the room? I didn't mean to jump in. I like that classification as a pre-approval because I'm looking at that language saying, or unless approved by the planning commission. And basically all we're saying is if you came to us, we'd say, okay, to these things. So you don't have to come to us. We're just saying across the board, you're doing this, you're good by us.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, I did not walk this down, so I don't really have an idea how big it is. Is there a need to revisit this in like 2 or 3 years? Just put on the calendar, somebody does a walk down and, is it? Or is that not necessary?
separately, there's probably some recommendation that easements occasionally get inspected, right? Just to make sure that everyone's complying with the terms. So I suppose it's not a bad idea to make sure no one's encroaching on the easement anyway.
Right.
So I don't know,
We don't really
this
have
could be
that.
part of it. We don't really have that.
I don't know, so a note in
Well,
Chris's calendar to walk down 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. you
Okay,
can go
I'll
walk
put
down.
it,
well, apparently the neighbors, there are enough people involved there that they are vigilant as to what other people are doing, so that's,
they're very active.
Yes, they are there.
So I've been there
I don't.
multiple times since they started constructing. So I think that there's enough policing in the neighborhood that the folks who've been here, and now that you've had this workshop walkthrough, that I think the other neighbors, if they're new, will understand if someone's out clear cutting and doing something they're not supposed to.
I think almost all of the neighbors attended the sidewalk, so they're very interested, and now everyone knows a lot more about it.
Any other discussion on this? With that, I would like to entertain a motion that the planning commission approve the memo to the Whisper Cove residents.
So moved.
With the, excuse me, you're gonna make a clarification on the.
Yeah.
Running parallel to shoreline.
As clarified in the bullet point, first bullet point. To establish a pathway running parallel to the shoreline and to Ragged Rock Road. I have a motion on the table.
I'll second it.
Okay, a second from Mr. McCracken. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? So moved.
Sorry. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming
Nice to
out.
see everyone.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Or
Happy
evening, I should say.
Careful walking across the street.
Oh, yeah. Look both ways.
Watch out for the band.
With that, go on to the workshop, plan of conservation and development. John is not joining us this evening. It's John.
I'm sorry.
It's John, right?
Yeah, John's not.
John's not joining us this evening. He has a family obligation. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Costa, who's going to lead the discussion.
So I think we're moving along pretty well with the section. I know John went through comments at the last meeting, and I guess we're looking for some feedback because it actually now looks like a plan section again. So I'm not sure if you've had a chance to go through and review it. I mean, we can kind of go through page by page. You can provide me with comments since your last meeting. But I think we spent quite a bit of time going through this. I don't know.
I don't see a need to go through it page by page.
Okay.
Does anyone have anything that's jumping out at them?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I have a number of either spelling or space or other comments. May I go through them?
You can either go through them or you can just provide those to Sarah and she'll provide those to Jeff.
We can just make a copy of wherever,
Oh,
If that's
okay.
if there's typos or
okay.
something like that, we can do that.
They were
Yeah, Paul,
really minor.
Yeah,
It's
if
just-
it's minor like that, then yeah,
Okay. Will do.
I just a very minor thing like that.
Redline it.
yeah.
And can I ask process wise, how do we get these other, do we get these other commissions to like buy into this or comment?
As far as
So,
the implementation plan goes.
Yeah.
yes, so we're, so what we're, some of the things, I mean, I think these commissions do it anyway. But rather than go a section by section approach and adopt, so now we have residential development complete, open space complete. I'm hoping we can get to historic, and cultural resources next. Transportation, John and I are working to kind of get a cover, get the whole document together, and the thought would be to provide an entire draft plan to the boards and commissions versus section by section, get some feedback. And then we can go from there as a commission and then start doing some public outreach and eventually go to public hearing.
Sounds good.
What's the time frame again? What are we shooting for, or is it like by the end of this year?
July, end of July.
Russell?
2023, right?
29.
I think we can get through the next two sections by the end of 2023 and at least start circulating
2022.
2022, I'm sorry, circulating it
Don't
for,
listen to me.
So like early next year, you're looking at approval or?
Hearings and public, yeah.
Yeah.
unless we move it along faster. But I think if we give the commissions, a good month or so,
Yeah, we're
just
gonna
to
give them time.
take a look at it. I mean, there's a lot going on right now, as you all know in town.
Mhm.
And then get that feedback. We can start incorporating it as it's received. Finalize it and then go to public hearing.
That sounds good.
I like the way it looks. I like the way it reads. I mentioned this when John had laid out the different committees and commissions. I like the way that came out. I think that's helpful.
I think it's a fresh.
Yeah.
New look.
And the inclusion of the studies and initiatives. I think that's important. Any major, like I said, again, any major concerns or questions regarding the plan? I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the draft so that we can move on to the next section, which will be historic and cultural resources.
Correct.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain? Opposed? All is opposed. Very good. Any committee representatives and or staff reports? We did that 2 weeks ago.
Tongue twister.
Yeah. Any committee or staff reports?
Staff report, we're still plugging away the plan,
Yeah.
obviously. You're gonna have quite a bit of referrals from zoning in the next few months. So you have some pretty big commercial applications headed your way. One thing I did do is we need to update our natural hazard mitigation plan. We're almost at that point again. GZA did it 5 years ago. So I contacted them to see if they would give us an estimate. I think it kind of makes sense to go with them again. They're also working with a number of different beach associations and some other grants, so they have a pretty good feel on what's going on. I mean, we could look at other consultants too. In some ways, I think it makes sense. So once we budget for it, and that'll probably be a project for next year. And then, so that'll keep us busy after we complete this one. So there's always some plan to update. What else do we have going on? Your next meeting, July 6th, you're gonna have a referral for fine federal marijuana at the Boston Post Road location, now occupied by Angus McDonald and Gary Sharp Associates, and a petition to amend the regulations to add drive-through restaurants on Spencer Plains Road. You're gonna have, I kind of scheduling, my plan was to kind of keep what we have for the second meeting for workshops. And then in August, I don't have the referrals yet, but I do suspect we're gonna have quite a few applications, so. I think we're making a lot of progress. We're getting a lot done with the plan. We're keeping up on our referrals. And that's really about it.
Okay.
Unless you have something for me.
When it comes to GZA, let me know who you're talking to over there. I can get 2 or 3 other numbers.
The GZA.
Well, not only that, but we can get comparative numbers. We can get other consultants to make sure that we have 3 numbers cost-wise.
Yeah.
That helps.
Paul, anything from inland wetlands?
No, nothing
Okay.
noteworthy.
No.
Yeah, on the original planning committee with Megan, who is on it as part of River Cog.
Oh, there we go.
It's confusing, but I did not make the last meeting. Megan, I don't know if there was anything noteworthy the last meeting.
No, not really. I do know that at the next meeting, the plan is for Rivercog to walk through the draft regional housing plan. And that's gonna sort of launch the public comment period for that. So if anyone is interested. But that's about it.
If there be nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Bye.
Aye. Any opposed?
18 minutes.
Sorry.